So, I've been watching a lot of what I've been knitting videos. So I thought it was probably about time to catch everybody up, because the last time I posted a video on this channel, I had short, dark hair, and then I went through a phase of being blonde, and then the rainbow unicorn happened, and now we're back to blonde and wet, sorry, because we just got out of the pool. So it's been a while, so I figure I should put something up here, and because I've become quite obsessed with watching what I've been knitting videos, I figured I should do the same thing. Why? Honestly, there's really not a reason for it. It just seems like a good idea. So, I've got a few projects that I've finished, a few projects that I've got on the go, because it turns out you can't have too many projects on the go. Well, you can have too many projects on the go. I have too many projects on the go, to be completely honest. But I sort of have a reasoning behind it. It's loose and fluid. I can hear a siren, but I'm going to ignore it because it's just the fire service going out for training. Right, so the first one that I've got that I finished, which was actually finished a wee while ago, is this is the URSA Major cropped jersey. Now, I say cropped because there were a couple of problems with this pattern as far as I was concerned. It was very popular, it was easy to knit, but it gave me RSI. But in order to get it wide enough to fit, ended up that it became deep enough that it almost doesn't. And as far as the level of cropped, I kept it going to be about my natural waist level, because the actual one was sort of here, and I didn't like how the sides ended. So what it does mean is when I turn side on, it says, look at this, little belly, yes. Probably not what anyone's looking for. That, and I knitted in the DK weight, and I didn't change anything about the pattern, but I feel like I should have, because there's too much neck. What I'm thinking I'm going to do is to pick up some stitches around the outside and add like a collar. Is that a collar? I think it's a collar. The other thing I don't like is the sleeves. I did a decrease, because otherwise they were going to be like baggy as all things. Yeah, and it's just, I don't know. I just don't know. I'd had this wool for such a long time. I bought it from somebody who did custom dyeing, and thought this was the perfect project because I liked the centre detail, I liked the fact that you knit it top down, but I hadn't stopped to think about the fact that by the time you get to sleeve 2, you're carrying the whole jumper around with you. Yeah, so this was this one. I think I need to add the thing. I don't like knitting rib stitch. I don't think anyone gets up in the morning and says, I want to work on ribbing, but that's that one. Excuse me as I undress. And as soon as I finished that one, I did exactly what you would imagine I would do. Start up on another jumper. Now, I learnt my lesson with that one, in that I suddenly realised I didn't want something that was going to be plunging all the way to here, and I didn't want something that was super cropped. And I didn't want to knit it all at once. So then Janelle from Rosary Apparel put up this jumper, and she did it in pink. So obviously I was going to do it in a colour that would match my bedroom walls. Very cool jumper. I'd like to say it knit up quickly. It didn't, because I got bored, like really quickly. Her version came to about here. I took mine longer because one didn't want it stopping there. It says all the wrong things about my body shape, to be honest. I like the way the sleeves hang. I like the way they sit. I like the pattern. I like the comfort level. I hate the collar. It feels like I'm slowly going to strangle to death. It doesn't look weird. I don't think it looks weird. It doesn't look weird, but it feels weird. It feels like somebody's going, and it feels like it's elongating this space. I don't need that space elongated. However, I finished a lacy jersey in a colour I really like, and a colour that my dogs really like. It's got a lot of dog fur on it. And I thought to myself, well, when does one wear this? Because it's got the lacy holes in it, so you feel like you need to wear something that matches underneath. It comes up very high, so you feel like saying not spring, but not winter, because of all the breeze holes. And you'll see where this is leading to down the track, but have I worn the orange one? Yes, I wore the orange one to an airport, and I wore the orange one out on a picnic successfully. This one, I haven't worn it anywhere yet. I'll find something to wear with it. I need to make a skirt, I think, and then I'll have something to wear with it more, and then maybe I can find an event. Yeah. Oh, you see, the neck is too small, far too small as far as I'm concerned. I've got a lot of head. So then I stopped knitting jerseys for a while because knitting jerseys became very painful. So what did I do? Blanket. So here I am. It was the middle of summer, and I found myself ordering the Wool in the Gang Let It Go blanket. And so I made this. It's in duck egg blue. It was my favourite colour of the season. It did knit up really quickly. I think I worked it out that it was about yay much that I could knit comfortably in an evening after working full time all day. So it was around about, it could have been 2 weeks work if I didn't do other things as well. Mainly I wanted to do this one because I like cables, and I really liked the idea of the fact that the kit came with a massive cable needle. It's really not a good reason to pick something one-eaten, but it's what I did. So I made it, and it's been sitting on the back of my sofa. I wanted to try the Crazy Sexy Wool because people had said so many things about it. They had said it was nice, and it's soft, and it's lovely. It collects dog fur like no business. The other thing that I'm not too sure about is that, like, this hasn't been finished for that long. We're talking maybe 2 weeks, and it's already pilling just from sitting on the back of my sofa. I don't have a lot of people over. I haven't used it as a blanket really other than while I was knitting it. So I don't know if I'd want to make a whole jumper in Crazy Sexy Wool because I think it would pill so quickly, but it was fun to knit. What I didn't like about this pattern is the edges. I knew as I was starting to follow the pattern that it was going to roll at the sides, and it rolls quite significantly. And even blocking it didn't really help long term. So I feel like it could have been an easy solve with the pattern itself to just have maybe 6 stitches of garter stitch on the end of every row, which would hold it quite flat. Or if I got around to it at some point, I could order maybe 2 more balls of wool and knit a border around it, and then it will become a slightly better size because it's wide enough for one person and it's long enough for basically one person, but let's face it, one doesn't want a blanket to cuddle under for one, does one? No, one wants a blanket for 2, or a blanket that's almost enough for 2. Scandalous. Or something along those lines. I just feel like it needs to be slightly larger, and then you could say, here, cuddle under my blanket with me. And that would be fun. But I did enjoy it. It was the first Wool in the Gang knit kit that I'd completed, so that was fun. You'll see a theme coming very shortly. I paid an absolute arm and a leg for this to come out. I did get a discount thingy from some sale, but I'm in New Zealand, and this came from the UK. So by the time we did the pounds to dollars conversion, and then the shipping, I think the shipping almost doubled the price. So I bought 2 kits. I know, I don't make sensible decisions, as you'll soon see. So I did those, and then I thought, you know what, it's probably time to try something different. So what did I do? I signed up for a blanket knit along where every month you get given another section of the pattern. This is June, maybe June, maybe July. Either way, it's the first month, and I'm about to do a super fun unboxing because month 2 has arrived, but I haven't opened it. Or have I? No, I haven't opened it. This is in the greys and blues from The Woven, which is a small company down in Wanaka, New Zealand. A lovely woman who runs it. Beautiful yarn. It's called Sumptuous. It feels like it's a Polworth yarn, and it's super squishy. You can use it with small needles and it compacts, or you can use it with large needles and it kind of poofs out a bit. It takes a little bit of getting used to because it doesn't quite behave like a DK wool, but after a while you're like, oh, this is nice, and then you go to knit something else and you're like, this is different. So I've got that far in here. Now I liked this section here because it's just a blackberry bramble stitch, one of those, and it meant that I could just take it with me and go. And that's what I was wanting, is I was wanting a knitting project to put in my handbag because, well, the big one, the blanket, you can't take that with you. And then the one I'm going to show you shortly that I've just started, you also can't take that with you. It just would hurt your brain. So I took this one and it was great. But then when I got to this section, which looks like it should be easy, but it's a 17-row repeat. And so it looks like it's random, but it's not. So I kind of had to sit with the pattern and just go, right, so this is a knit and this is a purl, and then you couldn't just wing it. Probably could have taken a photo of the pattern on my phone and gone with it that way, but I didn't. And now I've moved on to this section here, which moves quite slowly, but looks quite cool. It looks almost like undulating waves. Part of me wants to change it, part of me doesn't, because I was trying to follow the pattern, but by trying to follow the pattern, I followed the pattern here for the joining of the two colours, and then I thought I had remembered the joining of two colours for when I joined them here. But then about 4 rows in I realised I hadn't actually remembered it because they look very dissimilar on the inside, so Juanita was an idiot there. So we've got this one from The Woven in the blue colourways, and I think that this one here is the next month's colours, which is why I need to film this now before they send the next month's colours. So here's the woolly surprise. Bernard. She is really lovely, and there are stories I could tell, but I won't. So 3 balls of the Sumptuous yarn, which you can't really buy individually. I might review them woven at some point. And then the pattern of the month, as well as a nice little card from her as well. So I've got that there. So I've got, well, I'm quite looking forward, I like this shade. This shade is great. It's the colour of the outside of my house. I was kind of winging it when picking the colours I was going to do for this blanket. And I figured greys and blues, my house is greys and blues, I can probably, one of them will work. This one's the colour of my house. It doesn't show up quite as well on camera, but so this is in my project pile. So it's on the needles. I'm about a third of a month behind. No, I'm more than that now. So I need to finish those by August, but I've got some surgery coming up, so I figure as long as it's not too hard and requires too much brain, I should be able to catch up on that. Then, my Auntie Joanne came down. How do I tell this story? This is the difficult one, where my mother's been dying for a while, and one of the things she asked me is, could I make her a hat? I said, of course I can make you a hat. What kind of hat do you want? And basically she just wanted a really soft beanie with a rolled brim. And I'll put in a picture of her wearing it, because she didn't have it for very long. But it was made out of this yarn here, which is Outlaw Bohemia. Very spendy, but this is the nicest yarn in the world, I tell you. 45% Polworth, 45% alpaca, and 10% possum. Sorry to Straya. It's okay. It's really nice yarn. It's incredibly soft. I would totally 10 out of 10 recommend it for anyone who's growing their hair back from chemo. So I made the hat for my mother, but then my sister gave the hat to one of her sons after Mum passed. Yeah, so this is why this video is taking a wee bit longer to get to film. So now I've got this other ball of it, and at some point I'm going to make a hat for my father, because deep down he was a little sad when the hat disappeared, but it would never have fit his head. He comes from the big head side of the family like I do, so I will make him a hat that fits him, which one ball of this is more than enough for a man's hat, and even if it wasn't, I didn't use the whole ball on Mum's before, so there's scrap yarn. Love scrap yarn. So there's those two there. So my Auntie Jo came down, that's Mum's younger sister, and she was knitting these. Anyone who knows me and my love of physics, how do I best show this? This is a Mobius strip. I have been trying to work out how to make use of the fact that, you know how with circular needles you can get a twist in it? How to do something with a twist in it and make the twist work for you. So this particular scarf has got a twist worked into it. The twist can be worn anywhere. What makes it particularly intriguing is that, and why I haven't darned in the ends, other than sheer laziness, who wants to darn in ends, this is the cast on point in the centre. So you start in the centre and it grows outwards, and this is my bind off edge. It was supposed to be an I-cord bind off. There are 300 stitches. I wasn't going to commit my life to an I-cord cast off, so I just did a super stretchy bind off, or pill two together, slip the neat stitch back onto the neat pill two, you know, that one. Really nice scarf. I am going to give it to a friend of mine for two reasons. One, she can't get her head around the circular knitting needles in the first place, but when I was knitting this, I think it broke her brain. So she's going to have this scarf. So in my projects to come, I will be making one for myself in a different yarn, and I'll show you that in a moment. The next one that I'm currently working on, because again, you can't have too many projects. We're up to 17 minutes. How many projects do I need? I know, right? This is also wool in the gang. It's the Cyrus jumper. This is the back. This is one where you just could not take it with you, because you're constantly looking for the pattern. And I've made more than a few boo-boos on this, and then had to unpick it. Admittedly, trying to knit this while trying to plan a funeral, probably not the greatest idea. But I went with this because I wanted to try the Shiny Happy Cotton, and it is. It's a really nice yarn, except when you're doing the rib. I did not think I would ever finish this ribbing, so when I finished the whole back, it was quite exciting. But this, if I ever finish it in time for spring, you'll see me swanning about in it in spring. It's about yay long, so quite a nice length. And I imagine because it's cotton, it's going to keep stretching quite a bit. I do look a little bit like Grandma's tablecloth, when I hold it up like this, but I do like the diamonds. Am I going through a lace pattern phase? I'm only ever 2 steps away from being a fully fledged middle-aged woman, let's be completely honest. So this one here is underway. What is quite surprising is that this is 3 balls of yarn. No, yes, 3 balls? 2 3/4. The Shiny Happy Cotton goes a long way, and I'm making it in size 5. Originally I was going to be making it in size 6, but then as I started casting on the stitches, I thought, I think I'll get away with size 5. So I had a skinny me moment, and it was great. What else am I knitting? I also decided that I'm going to take up knitting socks. I did do a test heel, and it turned out huge, but at least I now know the size socks that I can make for my friend Dave, who's got like size 13 feet. So I got these teeny tiny needles and this teeny tiny yarn, and this is a top-down slouch sock. This particular shade is called Mars Experiment. That's why I bought it, because I don't really wear red other than this t-shirt. So I got this. I liked the needles. I wanted to give it a go because I tried it on the 4-pointed needles, but I figured if I can throw this in my handbag Or, as became the habit last week, I can put this ball in the pocket of my jacket, and I can put this in the other pocket. Then when I'm waiting for food for takeout, because who wants to cook, one can be knitting and impressing people. And that's what I was doing. Yes. Yes. So they're the ones on the needles. I think that's all that's on the needles. It's not, let's be completely honest. I have started the front of the Cyrus jersey, but it's not with me. Then I'll tell you what else I've got. So while we were going through Mum's sewing room, we found her knitting stash. Now, she taught me to knit when I was about 2, 3, because Dad got really sick, my sister got really sick, and I think she just wanted one person to sit quietly by the fire, to be honest. Then when she was going through radiation therapy the first time, she stayed away from us at a place up by the hospital in Palmerston North. So she had all this time on her hands and all these people that she sat around teaching them to knit or crochet or having parties. I'm not kidding, she ran parties. So somewhere along the line, there's all this grey wool, and she's made 2 sleeves. There's no sign of the jumper, the pattern, sorry. I'm fairly certain that she may have invented it as she's gone along, because there's something weird that happens there with the raglan and the shape of it. There's a bend. However, it looks like if I was to reverse engineer the pattern, it could work not as a jersey for me, because A, I'm never going to wear grey, let's be completely honest, but it would be nice for my sister, and my sister did nurse my mum through the last few weeks and months of her life. So I figured what I'll do is that I've got enough yarn there to finish the jersey, and I'll do something with a central panel down the middle, something that's not too fussy, because she's got 4 children, she doesn't need to be fussy, but she does enjoy boring ass colours like grey. Her bathroom is like beige. You can't choose your family, or your family's bathroom colours. However, there's 2 sleeves made, so at some point I will figure out how to make the jumper that connects it. Or I'll say to Trina, do you want a cardi or do you want a jumper? Because you've got options, but you're having long sleeve and you're having grey. But I thought it would be quite nice, because I think that as best I can work it out from the age of the bands on the wool and what she's knitted, and the fact that there's all sorts of irregularities that would never have occurred in her regular knitting, that tells me that she must have been knitting it while she was up having radiation, when she was teaching other people to knit. There were a lot of stories why she didn't knit so much back home, but when she came home from that, she then started knitting for her first grandchildren, so this seems to have got pushed aside. Still don't know if she was knitting it for somebody or for herself, but at some point I'll finish it for my sister. You'll probably see this a lot. Let's be completely honest. So, what else did I found a company called Unravelled, which is up north in Tauranga, Waihi, somewhere around there. Soxy yarn. I bought this colourway because they had it in stock. However, I will be knitting. No, that's not the pattern. If I ever find where I've put the pattern, it came with a sock pattern, and it came with the wool for the sock pattern, and possibly the most lovely gift with purchase I've ever received in my life. It's the knitting needle size gauge and your knitting gauge chart, 3D laser printed thing. So that was really cool. So it's kind of like a fun tool that came with my yarn, which I'll skip ahead to other fun tools I found and bought and have changed my life. This one will change my life if I ever actually get around to measuring a gauge properly, rather than just holus-bolusing it as I go. Wool needle from Knit Pro. Came with 3 of them. It's got a really cool loop on the end. It made it possible to darn in the ends of the crazy sexy wool, because you could just thread it through and go, and it was done. Thought they were genius. 3 sizes in the packet. One of them was orange. Orange is my favourite colour. This one's blue. So that was a cool tool. And then the third cool tool I bought that is completely unnecessary and nobody needs. Unicorn scissors. I don't even know if they cut, to be completely honest. Then I went a little bit mad and crazy, and I bought this lot of wool here in shades of teal, which I think teal is my second favourite colour at the moment, and I'm going to make one of these scarves for myself, but on a bigger needle, and then see if I can get away with like 120 stitches, because 150 then became 300, and it's a long story, but it's a long time. But it was fun to keep in the handbag, so at some point I'm going to make this scarf for myself. Then I also I bought these colours. They're not my favourite colours, but I wanted to make Bernie Sanders mittens. I'll probably never wear them because they're brown. I could have knit the mittens in a different colour. No, I won't. I bought the brown shades. Looked a long way for the brown shades, by the way. And then, this is an unnecessary purchase, but it's a kit. And I was going through I will try kits from New Zealand knitting companies. This is the Collie Wabbit kit. Isn't he adorable? But what blew me away with this pattern when it arrived is it's literally got everything, including, like, these are little wooden heart buttons and everything. So at some point I'm going to make the Collie Wabbit, and mine's not going to be yellow, it's going to be in teal, because I'm a dog with a bone, alright? Is that all? Probably not. But that's all I've got right now. I may start something else before I film another one of these. What I should do is film one in September with some sort of question about, did I hold myself accountable? I won't have. I guarantee you I will have started something that I haven't introduced right now. I'm hoping that I won't. That I will look and I will say, look, Juanita, you've got so many things on the go. You don't need another. I'll start another project. I did also start trying to teach myself to crochet. Yeah, it's not going well. Maybe it'll go well one day. I'm not sure why treble crochet and double crochet are the same thing, but not the same thing. Maybe I'll figure it out, maybe I won't. Anyway, thank you. This is my What I Knit in July, happening in August, almost. No, yes, it's my July knitting, but it's nearly August. I won't get anything else finished by the start of August, and I've got a one-act play festival coming up, so there's not going to be a lot of time. Cool. I will separate off the URSA Major and the Rosary review as well into a separate video, so please feel free to ignore those if you watch this entire one, because I think there are going to be people who are interested in those, because I did write about them on the blog a while back when I last blogged. Sorry, my people. Right. Take care, knit on, do a thing, mostly be kind to yourselves and be kind to others. See ya.